Going back to finding more about your quote subject, is there sometimes too much to know ahead of time? Can you get all of the good stuff out in one phone call, and then once you meet with them in person, they're sort of flat?
Yeah, so that happens. You want to save. It's generally not so much in the phone call, but when you arrive on location as your crew is setting up or you're setting up and you're starting to talk and maybe they're starting to offer stuff, you don't want them to be talked out. You don't want them to give up too much. So I've often said, let's save it for the interview because this is really good. I don't want you to feel like you're repeating yourself. I want you to be fresh with it and spontaneous. So yeah, you don't want to get spoil it. You don't want to get too much out. Generally, with the phone call, it's going to be days before, so that's not a problem. But when you arrive, make sure they're fresh, and don't have them waste any great nuggets that you might regret not getting.
And conversely, what if they're too on? What if they're in actor pitch mode and they're just too large for the camera and they're regurgitating all of their sort of press notes?
Just tell them that you just tell them just to calm down. Look, most people you'll find want to be directed in some way because they're not they're not professional on camera documentary subjects, so they might not know. They'll appreciate a piece of constructive criticism. They'll want you to make them look good. They'll want you to bring them down. So they'll appreciate that. So you just very nicely say, you know what, let's just have a conversation like we did on the phone and like we did before we rolled the camera. So that's generally not an issue. You're not going to find too many people who are not professional people, being too up. I think they'll be, generally it's the other way around. It's bringing them up to a conversational level and learning to speak, in full sentences. And because generally, especially if you're off camera, you want somebody to be able to repeat the question and the answer, and that takes a little time. But that's generally more of the problem, is bringing people up to the level of what you wanted rather than bringing them down.
And if they're too vague, if they're not answering your question?
Again, just be very honest with them and say, or just re-ask in a very nice way. Just re-ask the question in a way that you'll get at what you need to get at. You kind of, you're not going to know everything they're going to tell you, but you're going to know what they might have told you before on the phone. So just remind them, you told me the other day that this happened and that happened. Can you tell me that story? And they'll tell you, So if they don't want to, they wouldn't be there if they don't want to be there. So by saying yes, they're generally going to, be very amenable to doing whatever you need to get that answer out that they told you before. You're not creating anything. You're not asking them to falsify anything. You're just reminding them that you told me the other day that this happened. Can you tell me that story? That's generally all you need to do.
In terms of people that maybe are umming, saying, and hesitating, do you sometimes leave that in because that's just a natural style for them? Or people who are too fidgety?
With fidgety, I'll tell them you're drifting or something, but with the ums and the ands, if that's how they talk, you'll clean that up in editing. You don't want to give them so much, criticism that they're going to freeze up. If that's the way they talk, that's the way they talk, and you'll work with it. And again, it might be part of the context of the answer. Searching for the answer might be part of that answer itself, where they're hesitant or they're duplicitous or whatever they might be. Maybe that's part of the whole thing, so you might want that. But if it's just an and an and, generally when you go through your edit, you're going to be cleaning up. If you have enough coverage, you're going to be cleaning a lot of that stuff up.